Thanks for rising up. I'm Dawn Ennis. Happy Pride Month. This is our first episode of the new fully vaccinated era. You know, we've been on hiatus during most of the pandemic, having remote shows from locations here and there, but finally we're back in our town hall studio. West Hartford Town Hall is open to the public again. The fully vaccinated no longer need to wear masks except where required. And our town is urging all residents 12 and over to get their shot. So get vaccinated already, like me. And get vaccinated like Barry and Sky. My guests this episode represent West Hartford Pride. Barry Walters is the founder as well as the community co-chair at the Connecticut HIV Planning Consortium and the media outreach manager at APNH, which stands for A Place to Nourish Your Health. He's also a justice of the peace as well as a dad. He is an out and proud gay man. And so is Sky Casper, CEO and founder of Sky Casper Entertainment. He's an event producer and entertainment agent specializing in cabaret, drag, and stand-up comedy, my first love. And he says he loves to make people smile. Gentlemen, welcome to Rise Up, my first guest of the post-pandemic era, and you're all fully vaccinated just like me. Mm-hmm. And here we are, it's June, and it's time for Pride. So, Barry, would you start off by telling us what can West Hartford residents and folks from out of town expect to see when they visit West Hartford for Pride during June?
Well, hopefully they see a lot of pride flags, a lot of display of pride.
We have one right here, don't we?
We have a flag here,
now,
yes.
And this is a different flag than I've seen on other places.
This is what they call well, it has two names.
For sure, this way?
Yeah, there you go. This has two names. It's known as the Daniel Quasar flag, or it's known as the Progress or Progressive flag. And it is, you can see that it's a little bit different than the pride flag that we are accustomed to. They've included in addition to the 6 stripes, they've included a few more over here to represent race and transgender folks to bring them into and make it a much more inclusive flag.
I like it. And we're going to see this around town?
We're going to see it around town in the various business districts, the center, Elmwood. Hopefully we get some up in Bishop's Corner.
I heard the schools are also going to be flying these flags.
I've heard that as well.
Pretty exciting. So there was a flag raising, and what about events? What kind of events are we going to see around town?
We began actually June 1st with a flag raising on Unity Green in the center. And then there is a whole month of jam-packed with activities from virtual online panels and presentations to in-person Pride Night at the Gastro Park, which is going to be a lot of fun. We have some entertainment there that we've lined up. That's going to be on the 11th of June from 4 to 9. We have, oh my gosh, so many different things. We have, on the 25th, we have a comedy show at New Park Brewing, which is at 7 p.m. And backtracking, on the 23rd, we have Tell Me Another, the LGBTQ Experience, which is a storytelling event, and that will take place at the Universalist Church of West Hartford here.
Now, I find you to be very entertaining, but when it comes to entertainment and comedy, we turn to Sky Casper. Sky, you're the specialist in this regard. Tell us what you're bringing to West Hartford Pride.
Sure. So for the comedy show, we're calling it Laugh with Pride, and it's a diverse group of LGBTQ comics, and they're from all of New England. We tried to get as many represented in Connecticut as possible, and New York and Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So it's going to be people from all over the place, and they're really funny, and it's going to be a great time. And then on the 26th, we're going to be doing a drag fest during the Pride Festival, and we're going to feature about 15 local acts in Connecticut, all the favorites, all the up and rising queens in the area, and they're really amazing and fantastic, and I think it's going to be a great day.
And these are in-person events. We're not just talking about Zoom.
No, we're not.
Crazy.
We are going to have in-person events. We're going to have both, virtual and in-person. When we started this out, we wanted to plan as if things would be virtual, but
Just in case.
just
right?
in case. So, but we do have in-person events. Masks are encouraged. However, as we know, with the restrictions being lifted, it's not mandatory in most places. So, as long as we're outside, and we did that purposefully as well, as we scheduled almost everything out of doors.
You must be very excited. And after last year, after having to do a virtual Pride, after the first year in which we had this wonderful event with, would you talk about the sidewalk? I'm not sure everyone knows about Blueback Square and our special crosswalk we have.
the crosswalk in Blueback Square. That was a great process. It's something that people here in town had wanted for a while. And we had to find a way that was going to stay within the parameters of what the rules were for streets and crosswalks. I guess the rules, they like to see white on black for crosswalks. But a compromise was come up actually from the town. I believe it was John Phillips's with DPW's idea to go with this. And so this flag, the progressive flag, was painted by Brian Colbath on the street itself, right by Blueback Square, by the pergola. And this year it's been touched up. So
right between Cheesecake Factory and Barnes & Noble, right?
Yep, and it's white and ready to go for Pride Month.
Fantastic. I was there when we dedicated it, and I remember feeling moved that it felt like not just a flag raising, but the town was putting some concrete proof that everyone is welcome.
Absolutely, and my moment actually came before that when I walked over and watched Brian and his daughter painting, and I sat there and I was kind of like, I was thinking, this is great, finally it's coming to fruition, and what I hadn't prepared myself for was the people that were walking up and taking pictures as it was happening, and included in those were teens and young adults who were just beside themselves that they were seeing this being laid out in front of them, and it was a feeling of such. It was a very joyous feeling. It was a very. It was almost one of those tear-jerking moments for me. I
believe it.
I had to sit down there and just kind of contemplate for a few minutes.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Sky, I used to write comedy reviews, and when I go to comedy clubs, the person you want in the front row is me, because I have the loudest laugh, and I've often had comics say to me, whatever that lady's drinking, get her some more. So tell me what it is about comedy, especially after all we've been through. I mean, 500,000 people are dead. This is a hard time for a lot of people. President Biden talks often about that empty seat at the table. And we can't forget that this Pride, just like with AIDS, just like with HIV, just like with every other violence that is committed against our community, there are people who are LGBTQ who won't be here to celebrate. So why is comedy even more important this Pride Month?
I think people want to get out and just forget about everything that's been going on or get distracted from it and have some good laughs with friends they haven't been able to see for a while because everybody's finally getting vaccinated and everybody's feeling comfortable coming out. And I think it's so important for LGBTQ people to have a stage and opportunities to tell their stories and be noticed, because they don't necessarily have all the opportunities that the average person would have. And I like to feature them in my shows and just be able to showcase them and give them opportunities.
I'm excited about it. I must say that I'm not a fan of drag, but I admire the artistic and the strength and the creativity that goes into drag performers. My problem, if you want to even call it that, would be I don't think a lot of people understand the difference between being transgender, which I am, and being a drag performer, drag king, drag queen. I know there are trans people who started out in drag, and there are still drag performers who are trans. Do you want to explain for people who are watching who may not really understand that difference between drag and trans?
Yeah, so somebody who's trans is somebody that actually wants to be a woman, change their sex.
Or a man.
Or the opposite,
yeah,
where they want to change their gender completely. Drag is more for like entertainment, and drag has changed so much these days where it can be like any type of art almost. Like get creative with it and have fun with it. And yeah, drag is just really a form of entertainment, and they don't. Most of the time, they could change their mind, of course. They're not planning to change their gender. They just like the illusion and the fun of the entertainment of it.
Also, it's sort of an accentuated, exaggerated form of either masculinity for drag kings or for femininity for drag queens. It sort of gives us a look at life at the extremes. Is that right?
Yeah. And drag gives people that have a voice, like a stage kind of. People pay attention when a drag queen gets on stage, and it's important for some people to get noticed that way. You know, they need a platform or a way to get noticed, and drag is just a way to make a statement sometimes, you know?
One of the things that got me really angry over the last year or two is something called Drag Story Hour, where children are given a reader who happens to be performing in drag, reading wonderful childhood stories. And kids, I find, are so much more accepting without preconceived notions, and they just see it as dress up. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because there's such a conservative backlash against Drag Queen Story Hour.
And we actually have.
Is that one of the things that's happening?
Yes, we actually have, as part of our events, our activities, Drag Queen Story Time.
Fantastic. Talk to us, either one of you, about why that's something that people should not be afraid of. Shouldn't kids understand that life is all about difference, and being different is not a bad thing?
Absolutely. I think children are much more accepting and much more open to it. I don't think they look at it in a sexualized way. They don't look at it as a political statement. They don't look at it at all like that. They look at it as a stories being read to me by this really pretty lady or man, and they're having fun with it. Yeah. You know, for them, it's all fun. And usually, my experience with the reader, the drag queen or king, it's all about fun and giving back. For them, they are having a time of their life. And so it's we're all too quick to sexualize and politicize things. And they don't have that. The kids don't.
You grew up in South Dakota, Arizona, and Guam. When did you know that you were gay?
6th grade. So that would have been Arizona.
What was it? Did a little light bulb go off, or did you see something, hear something?
I was far more interested in the boys than I was the girls, and I don't think it was a slap you in the face type of moment. I think it was just kind of oh. And 6th grade is pretty much puberty's beginning, and you're understanding attraction. Sky, is your story any different? Because I was 4 when I knew I was transgender, but my mother told me, no, you're not a girl, you're just special. She was wrong. I mean, you are special.
I mean, she was partly right. Sky, how about you? What's your coming out story?
It was kind of a weird transition. I was gay, but I didn't think of it in any other way. I just naturally was the way I was, and I didn't think it was weird or different to everybody around me. So it kind of just, I don't know how to explain it. It was kind of weird.
You evolved, and you were ephemeral, and you were.
Yeah, but coming out to my family was all really interesting because it all happened at different times. Like, my grandma walked up to me on Thanksgiving one day and was like, "Do you think you're gay?" And I was like,
What'd you say? Yeah. Yeah.
I am. And then
talk about it.
My mom was like, "Is that guy your boyfriend?" I was like, "Yeah."
Wow, what a great family.
I actually didn't come out until college, and my coming out to my mother was, the reason I haven't been coming home is because I've been staying over at my boyfriend's house. And she was like, oh, okay.
Okay. Wow.
She knew.
Fantastic.
So
I think moms did know. My mom knew. That's why she had me model as a girl for a couple of years. But she and my father disagreed, and they wanted me very much to follow a script. Live as a man, marry a girl, have kids. And, after my father died, I realized that life is short, and it was time to stop pretending and to really look into this whole idea. gee, maybe I can find a way to be my true self. Because so many people think, and I'm talking about people who are conservative or anti-LGBT, why can't you just be gay at home? Why do you have to be gay at work? Why do I have to be trans on TV or at work? Either of you want to tackle that question?
Well, before you even got to that question, I was sitting here thinking about how, as a youngster, I sound old.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, we climbed up hills. But no, years ago in Arizona, I went through high school, college thinking, and even afterwards, I thought, I'm not going to be the one to have a family. I'm not going to be the one to, I'll maybe have a boyfriend or something. I'll never get married. And we've watched as things have changed very rapidly for the LGBT portion of the community. Other portions of the community, the so-called alphabet, have not met with that same liberation, if you will. But, my partner and I have a son who's 15. We've had him since, he joined our family as a newborn. And, when all of that started happening for me, at one point it was kind of like, a lot of the fighting has paid off, and I have some of these things I never thought I would have. But it was very, very, very soon that I realized too that the fight is not over. We got to keep it up. Mm-hmm. So despite the fact that LGBT folks have probably made one of the quickest rises as far as equality and equity is concerned of, if you look back historically, like I said, we still have so many that have been left behind. And some of those that have been left behind are the ones that started the movement in the first place. So we really need to go back and be that loud voice, to be that, take those actions. I'm a big thing where I have a big thing where voice isn't enough. You have to follow it with an action. And so, we have to be there, and we can't rest, because as we found out in the last 4 years, things can be taken away.
Hello.
So, I hate to think that we have to be on our guard the whole time, but we really do. Mm-hmm. And until we reach that point where, everybody lives on the same plane and has the same, not just equal rights, but everything is equitable, it's going to be a struggle and a fight.
Sky, even though we here are 3 white people, West Hartford Pride is a very diverse group, and I imagine that as the entertainer in the group, you're also exposed to the more marginalized members of our LGBT community. Can you talk to us a little bit about why Pride is also intersectional and how it responds to the needs of Black Lives Matter and other movements that, we've only really, unfortunately, just begun to recognize? It's, 600 years that we are oppressing Black people in our country, and we're still not yet at a place where everyone is equal. So talk to me a little bit about how entertainment tries to level that playing field that Barry was talking about.
Yeah, I think because we're another oppressed group, and we've kind of, well, at least the white side of our community has been able to be accepted, we still need to help the others that have not been, and bring them up. And Black Lives Matter is such an important thing, because they're still just seeing hate every day, and I'm just like...
And it's not so much bringing them up as it is giving them letting them have that place at the table. It's okay to invite somebody in. It's another thing to actually listen and make them a part of the process and make them part of the, and that goes beyond race
Sure.
as well. It's gender,
disabled,
it's disability, it's everything.
Yeah.
And so it's a matter of bringing everybody together and just giving them the opportunity. And it's easy as a middle-aged or old white guy.
You're not old. If you're old, I'm ancient.
But I think that the first step is for, people to recognize who they are and what they have. And I do recognize that I have privilege. And I think the important thing is for those of us who have been given that privilege is to use it wisely. Not use it to oppress, but use it to stand up and stand behind. Not stand in front of, but stand behind people who aren't there yet and who have been fighting for so long, much longer than many LGBT people.
I agree.
have.
I have often said that my place in our community is not to hog the microphone, but to pass it and to shine a spotlight on those who don't get a spotlight, to give up my chair so other people can sit at this table.
Absolutely. It's not my place to tell other people what a Black trans woman needs. I don't know what that person needs because I know what I've been told, but that I may have been told by one individual. That's not a catch-all for all individuals.
You mean you don't speak for all gay people either?
I don't speak for all gay people even now. But and it's sad that I have to say that because we do have individuals in our own community that are not there yet.
Yeah.
Their world is a gay, white, male-centric, ripped abs.
You haven't been to Fire Island, but you certainly just described it.
Well, it might be fun to look at.
Yes, yes.
I've
I've learned all about the male gaze and about being a part of men looking at me and me looking at men. I will tell you, it's an eye-opener, but here's the question. What is pride for you? And Sky, start thinking as the question's coming to you. What is the word pride? What is the event pride for you, Barry?
Pride has evolved for me, because I used to think that it wasn't something that I necessarily had to partake in. But as I've gotten a little bit older, I've realized that historical concept of pride, what it started out as a political statement, as a social statement, as an economic statement, and I've realized that there's a reason why we have it. We have it because we needed something. We needed something to acknowledge ourselves and to show ourselves to the world, and to say that we're not going anywhere. Now, some will say that it's pretty crazy that we have the Go-Go Boys and the crazy stuff going, but you know what? It's an expression. It's an expression of freedom and an expression of themselves. There's also a lot more pride than those things. And coming back to our own pride, that's why it's been very important for us to plan in events that don't have, a drag queen performing or have a go-go boy or something like that. We also have, things on health, with Healthy Sexuals, which is going to be a virtual program. We have a thing on stigma, HIV stigma. We have a book club, which is highlighting a collection of short stories.
Isn't St. Joseph's involved in that?
St. Joseph's is going to help us out with that.
The University of St.
University
Joseph.
of St. Joseph is going to
Thank
help
you for
us with that. And so we're trying to highlight all of the community. We're trying to highlight all of those things that have much more. It's far more representation, not only of people themselves, but of who we are and what we do. And I think that's important as a part of Pride. And it's also, I've got to see it through my son's eyes. And, he's grown up looking, watching his dads participate in various things and to see how open-minded he is and to see how accepting and helpful, encouraging. And, his grandmother's still trying to get over the fingernail polish, but, he's learned that fingernail polish doesn't make me gay.
And it comes off.
So, seeing him learn how to present himself and how to hold himself in a society that still has a little bit of issue has been very rewarding.
Sky, how about yourself? Oh, I'm sorry. We have no more time left. No, just kidding.
I talked too much.
I didn't say that.
I think I was brought up in a different generation where we kind of see Pride as like a celebration.
Okay, now I have to ask how old you are.
He says that like he's like 90.
How old are you, Sky?
No, I think that older people see Pride differently than younger people do, because younger people see it as just like a party, you know?
Okay.
But I'm kind of in the middle, where when I was growing up, I had a lot of older friends, and I still have a lot of older friends. So it kind of rubs off on me. And I see how important it is to celebrate Pride all year round, not just in Pride Month, because there's people that see me or see somebody else that's proud and out in a magazine or something along those lines, and they're like, oh my God, I could do that too. Like, I could be out and I'm proud and inspire others. And I realized recently how important that is, to see people represented on all platforms, on social media, just posting. And some people just really need that when they're younger and they're in a household that maybe doesn't accept them, or you know, in a school where they get bullied during the day or something along those lines. They need to know that help is out there and all that stuff. So that's another important part of Pride, having something for everybody to get help and share what's there for them, opportunities to get help and express themselves and see other people that are like them.
So West Hartford Pride is free, isn't it?
Actually, almost all of the events are free. That is something that was very important to us from the beginning, that we had it accessible for as many people as possible. There is one event right now, the comedy Laugh with Pride, that does have a ticket. It's a ticketed event, and it's $20. But we are actually contributing majority, actually all of that, to the Bridge Family Centers here in West Hartford.
All of the proceeds for those tickets go to the Bridge.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we want to be able to give back to the community. We knew that the best thing to do for the event was to charge a cover, if you will, but we felt it important to make sure that we gave that back.
I find sometimes people would rather go to something they have to pay for than think that it's free, meaning it sucks.
You can look at
There's a value to it, you know?
Right, exactly. And we're really thrilled to be able to go and do this for the Bridge.
I love the fact that as we see all the Pride flags around town, we're also going to see them on churches and temples and other houses of worship. I belong to Congregation Beth Israel, and we're having our own flag raising with a Star of David on the same day as on June 1st, the flag raising will happen or has happened, and a Pride Shabbat in which I will be participating as a Jew. It's refreshing to see that the Catholic University, that the Jewish congregations, that other churches embrace the fact that we are part of this community. We're a rich part of this community. And you two gentlemen are shining examples to me of what every person should want to be, which is authentic and proud. Thank you very much, and happy Pride to both of you.
Happy Pride.
Barry, Sky, thank you for being my first guest of the post-pandemic era.
It's going to be an exciting year.
You'll find links to West Hartford Pride and Sky's website and much more, episodes and information at RiseUpWithDawn.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm Dawn Ennis. Please rise up.